Rooster Tail Talk, the podcast dedicated to everything about the sport that we all love, hydroplane racing. I am your host, David Newton, and it's time once again, so sit back, relax, and welcome Rooster Tail Talk. Hello, race fans. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is June 9th, 2026, and this is episode 184, part 2 of my interview with David Williams and Brad Haskin. Now, if you haven't listened to part 1, please go back and listen to part 1, episode 183. I've got a link in the bio below. As we spent part 1 really diving into the history of the museum, the history of Brad Haskin and David Williams working with the museum, what they have done, what they've contributed, and what they've contributed to hydroplane racing in general. I could have broken this episode up into 3-4 segments, but it's better sometimes for the conversation to continue and to flow. So this is a 2-part episode, but it's a supersized 2-part episode. Now we're going to pick up with Brad talking more about his history in the sport, as then he'll talk about him becoming a H1 technical inspector and his path with the museum. But before I get back into this interview, I really want to put a plug in for the museum. Too many times we take the museum for granted. They have so many artifacts and parts of the hydroplane world there that are free to the public. Without them, a lot of this stuff would have gone to the dumpsters, garbage fills, landfills, including the immaculate boats that they have there that are restored, that are seaworthy, ready to run, not without too much notice. And every summer, the museum brings out boats to Tri-Cities, Seattle, and sometimes even more so than that on Lake Washington, Mahogany Below. Then they share the experience, share the history with race fans of today. It's really important for us to keep this history alive because without this history, we can't understand the present. We can't understand H1 where it is today. And so I would highly encourage you, if you're not a member of the museum, please go to thunderboats.org, become a member today. As little as $50 can help the museum to keep the lights on for another day, to get more parts for the restoration, and everything in between, just to preserve the history of this sport that we love. So, with my shameless plug being over there, let's go back into my interview as Brad talks more about his history in hydroplane racing and how that led him with where he is today at the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum as the director of the museum.
So let's see. And then when that team opportunity went away, I was kind of lost, and I actually reached out to Mike Noonan, who was still the chief referee, and I said, "Hey, you got anything for me?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think we did that." So, gosh, I spent 7 or 8 years as a tech inspector for H1.
Deputy sheriff.
There's the deputy sheriff working for the late Pete Thompson, who, again, another one of those guys that I just learned so much from. It was absolutely amazing to work for him. And when he passed away, I still feel that one. But I also got to work with John Walters afterwards. But I had worked with John, out at the U8 and the U37. And I think that's one of my favorite things about being in the sport is that I have had the opportunity to not just meet, but to work with the people that when I was a kid, those are the guys I saw on TV, right?
Yeah.
And now they're the guys that I have in my phone.
Yeah, wild. That's a long list of some pretty cool names.
He has the credibility. He's the right guy.
But yet I haven't really done anything. I've been there. I've done that. A lot of participation trophies, but it's spread over a pretty large swath.
Yeah. But I think it comes back to all the branches that the museum has, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've gotten to know all these different people and personas, and it's a slam dunk, right?
As much as anything has ever
Right.
slammed dunk.
Well, what's been the most exciting part so far for you, Brad, of this opportunity here?
That's going to be a multi-part question. David's making he's showing him me driving.
Is it that nice new car you got for this job? Is that what it is?
He got the same truck I had.
I am going to say that taking over this job is terrifying because I have never been a businessman. And before David took this, he had his own business. He was a successful business operator on his own. So that's one area that I haven't done. So it is terrifying to realize that there are some big shoes that I have to fill. And honestly, on some levels, there are days where I miss just being the dude. I miss being the guy that's back there. Just everybody teases me that I'm always sanding something. And I miss being just, I'm going to go work on the wing today and just doing where I knew what I had to do. I could do it. I could put as much time into it or as little as I had to or wanted to, and I could just go home when I wanted to. And since I took over, I've been doing 6 days a week, and gosh, I was doing 12-hour days for a while, but I feel like I'm, after a couple of months now, I'm finally gaining some traction. But it's
summer's coming.
Yeah, it's I know it's going to be at least a year that I've got to go through before I get comfortable because,
right.
I mean, shoot, the first week that I was here, I was putting in paperwork with the Parks Department for the sanction for us to run, to run the spring training in May. And there's all sorts of business things that come up of, oh, wow, I have to do this license and pay. You mean there's 2 sets of property taxes that I have to pay? Why, and these are the things that I'm always calling or writing David, hey, I got this in the mail. What do I do with this?
Yeah.
So I know that I'm going to have to go through my first spring training. I'm going to have to go through Tri-Cities. I'm going to have to go through Seafair and M&M and all these other things to do it myself,
right? And
realize, because there's so much that I don't know what I don't know yet, which is why I'm scared.
Well, it's all the challenges that comes with this position, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of challenges. And hearing that, David, are you getting PTSD or what was the biggest challenge for you when you ran this operation? I think I know what it is, but
I don't want to scare Brad away, but it was money. It was, I would describe this job. There used to be a furnace commercial on TV where there's a guy in the basement with a big snow shovel and piles of cash, and he's just shoveling money into the furnace. And as fast as he shovels it, and it says, is your furnace eating you out of house and home or whatever? That was my life for 33 years. We operate, don't get stressed, Brad, but we operate on a $500,000 a year, but between $500,000 and $600,000 a year. And that's, for the days that you're open, that's $2,000 a day that you have to bring in.
Yeah.
All day, every day, for 30 years. And I did that. And it does, when you don't have it, it can keep you awake at night.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to pass my disease on to Brad, but for 30 years, I've had a running calculation in my mind of, like, an airplane pilot is always trying to figure out how much fuel he has, what airport can he reach on the fuel he has, if something, at this altitude with this fuel, I am always doing that calculation of, okay, if nothing comes in ever again, how far can I can pay this rent and I can pay this month, but I can't get to there. So I definitely have to earn something. And then you have goalposts along the way, and Brad will, you have Give Big coming up. And then you have the first couple of spring trainings. Well, you can sell some rides, you can sell some merchandise, and then you have Tri-Cities. Well, you'll get paid to run 4 boats, and then you have Seafair. Well, you get paid to run 4 boats, and you can sell a bunch of merch at both of those events. And then you have the gala, and then you have M&M, and you have these goalposts that if I If I can get to that one, then I know I can get to that one. If I get to that one, I can get, and you're coming out of the doldrums where we really don't bring in much money between January and June. I mean, you've had a couple good hits, and you're going to make it. But from June, if I made it to June, I knew I was good until December.
Yeah.
Because, all right, well, we've got this event coming up, and then we've got, I know that at Tri-Cities we're going to get paid this much to run boats, and I'm going to sell this much merch, the more that we go out in public, the more membership we sell. So now you're going to be able to sell members. So if you can get to June, you can get July. You get to July, you get to August. Then you get to M&M, and you can sell a bunch of rides. And then you've got the annual campaign and the year-end giving. But you have these, for me, there were always these goalposts. But I held my breath between each one.
And it's interesting that I've seen this several times online where we'll be talking about some museum event and somebody from the peanut gallery will say, you guys are always asking us for money. I'm not going to support you. You're always asking me for money. And it's like, do you really think we run this out of the generosity of our own hearts?
Right.
I was at a meeting, an APBA vintage meeting, and we were talking about some things, and they asked me to just stand up and introduce myself. And this is when I had just taken over. And I said, I really want to help be a part of this, because my outlook on this is our place within APBA. We all sink or swim together.
Yeah.
And if one part goes down, the rest of it's going to go down with it. So we all kind of need to be there to support each other. And I was getting some pushback from some of the people at the meeting. And I said, I run a business. I have to pay $15,000 a month to keep the doors open. And suddenly the room went quiet.
No, you pay $15,000 on rent. You still have to pay utilities and salaries and taxes.
Yeah. But nobody was thinking about that. It's like, I'm sorry that you're not getting what you want and that I'm not supporting you the way that we are, but that's up here, and I'm worried about this. I have my bottom line. But at the same time, kind of like what we hit on earlier, and I know, David, whenever we would have like Christmas parties here or meetings with large crowds, we've been doing this longer than Bernie Little ran a team. And we have restored and run more boats than Bernie Little ran.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Are you enjoying the podcast and want to show your support? Well, now you can with Rooster Tail Talk Plus. This is a new subscribing service for our podcast where you can sign up for a monthly fee and help us to create and grow more content for Rooster Tail Talk. If you subscribe today, you'll get chances for monthly raffle prizes, extra content, early release to new episodes, as well as much, much more. This is a new service, and we'll be adding more to it as we move along, but your support is appreciated. As you can imagine, running a podcast can be pricey as costs increase for hosting fees, website fees, travel, equipment, and much more. With your support, you can help make sure we have new content coming to you every week and make this a better place for talking about hydroplane racing. You can find the link to be a subscriber in the bio of the episode, as well as on our website, roostertailtalk.com.
Please support the show.
That's pretty wild. I didn't stop to think about that.
That's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive. Yeah.
And there's nobody that's ever run Griffins, Merlins, and Allisons all at the same time.
Right.
Because seriously, I mean, look at how there are a lot of people with intentions of, I'd love to restore that boat. I'm going to buy this boat and restore it. And you never see it again.
Right.
Well, there's an awful lot that goes into that, as I am finding out now.
Yeah.
And we have restored, we're on 18, 19?
It's a hard number to count because, we've restored 18 or 19 ourselves, but we helped Joe Frontheim on the Tempo. We helped Ken Muscatel on the Miss America.
Right.
We've
It's a pretty big family tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I want to kind of dig into that because you both have good history with it, and you know what it takes to restore a hydroplane. The casual fan doesn't understand that you can't just go out to a junkyard, pick
There
up a
isn't a
boat,
hydroplane store.
and right, like financially and time commitment. What does it take to restore a hydroplane to what you have out here in the showroom, where you have it being able to run on Lake Washington, this summer?
This summer?
Well, I mean,
The starting point is that most of the boats that are restoration worthy have been deteriorating for 40 years.
Right.
Or more. Some of them indoors, some of them outdoors. So you're not starting with the best of equipment
right.
either. So go ahead.
All right. There are three factors that go into any racing project: time, budget, and quality. And all three of those factors have to work together.
Yeah.
If you have an unlimited budget, the time is going to be pretty short. I can restore a boat. If you give me $1 million, I can restore.
Because you can hire 6 people to work
Right.
7 days a week.
Right.
So we don't have a very big budget. It takes, even the way that we do it with volunteer help, it takes $250,000 to restore a boat. And people go, but the trailer, a tilt trailer is going to be $40,000.
Right.
If I went to the Merlin store to buy a Merlin, I'm going to pay $200,000. Well, I can't do that. So
And there are Merlin stores.
Yeah,
We could go half a dozen guys that have Merlin engine shops, and you can buy it.
Yeah, we
But
can
you're
go to
going to pay
vintage
for it.
Yeah.
We can go to vintage V12, but at any rate, if there's the trailer, the boat, the systems, the engine. I do know, Steve Hayden is spending over $1 million a piece on each one of his restorations, and he's not doing them terribly fast, but his quality is immaculate. The boats that he puts out are way better than they were originally.
Yeah.
We can't spend $1 million, but we spend about $250,000 with volunteer help. Now, we're spending 4 to 5 years. Going back to the Madison movie, when we pulled the Savior's Mist literally out of the weeds, there was no deck, no motor, no hardware, and we had $25,000, and we had it running in 8 weeks.
Wow.
And it was and no, we didn't restore it to be the immaculate showpiece that you might see in a Pay and Pack or a Wahoo. But the damn boat ran for 20 some years before we had the. But
here's another observation I'd like to make with that, and it's specifically a conversation that you and I had. I think we were at the old museum at the time, but we were looking at pictures of the Chrysler Crew when it was constructed. New construction pictures coming out of the Lauterbach shop.
Yeah.
actually, Bill Sterrett Sr. built that himself.
Okay. So it's pictures of that. If you look at it, it's kind of thrown together.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that, well, I think Ed probably said something. The boat is designed to run for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
That particular photo, because I remember it very, very well. Chrysler Crew had those nice birch decks, birch plywood, and there was a deck seam. Well, if you don't fair the deck correctly and the seam misses just a little bit, and you hit it with a sander, you'll sand through the birch ply and you'll come up with a layer of glue.
Right.
And that glue is dark. And I was looking at the seams on the Chrysler Crew, not all of them, but one adjacent to the cockpit. And I'm like, holy crap, they sanded through the outer ply. And if I had done that, we would have pulled the whole panel off.
Yeah.
But these boats, I've got a great picture of the brand new 55 Thriftway. Ted Jones is sitting in it, and it's all glossy. And there is a curtain, a sag in the varnish. There's this huge sag right through Thriftway where it says Miss Thriftway. And it looks like, but people didn't see that back then.
Right.
The quality that we are used to in hydroplanes, the Budweiser quality, the Hanson Brothers quality, the Good Moon Racing or Home Street or, that is so much higher than the stuff that came out of anybody's shop back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have to now restore our boats to that level of quality, or people go, oh, this is really doggy. Well, we don't want people to look at our stuff anymore and say this is really doggy. So it does take a couple of years. Circus is taking longer because it actually turned into much more of a replica than a restoration. Still, we do have original parts, and it is technically a restoration because we have the original bottom, and and then John Watkins is just meticulous, and the work is.
You set out to save as much as you can. You really do.
Definitely.
You want to,
Right.
but in the case of the circus, it had been sitting outside for a long time, and it wasn't as bad as the Squire Shop. I think the Squire Shop was, there were mushrooms and moss growing out of the deck.
And I've heard stories of repairs of that boat in particular over the years where it was a lower budget team when it was Al Thorson had it, and they would use what was convenient, which probably shouldn't have been used at the time, and so it makes it harder.
But the payoff is when you've got 4 of them running at 130 miles an hour down the front stretch.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers that. It's now you're a 10-year-old kid on the shoreline again.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to think about the longevity of it too, right? You want to restore it so you do restore it once and not have to restore it.
Most of our boats have
every few
run
years.
as museum pieces
Much longer.
significantly longer than they ever ran in competition.
Right.
The Griffin Bud, I think we finished that in 2003, so we've been running it for 23 years.
Wow. Yeah.
And Budweiser, it came out in 80, and
they were done by the 85 season.
Yeah.
So they ran it 5 years, we've run it 23 years.
Yeah.
But and Don Mock used to preach that. We only want to restore these once because, frankly, I don't know. Our goal is we don't own these boats. You own the boats. You listening on the podcast, you own these boats. We hold them in trust for the public. That's what a not-profit is. We do not own anything. We hold these assets in trust for the public, for the hydroplane fans. Anyone listening to this who lives in this country owns more of that boat or as much as that boat as I do.
The way that when I was flying the bombers for the Commemorative Air Force, we always preached to everybody within the squadron that we were just stewards. We're stewards of historical artifacts.
Yeah.
And that's what this building is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we restore them, we're trying to restore them for all time because I really don't think that there's anyone down the road in 5 years or 10 years that's going to want to come in and restore Chip Hanauer's Atlas the way that we did. There may be people that will do maintenance on them,
Right.
but no one's going to pull the decks off, pull the skins off, and rebuild it from scratch.
Right.
Which, by the way, this is something that your dad and I talked about. Your dad did a couple cosmetic restorations for Bob Williams. Yeah. And the difference between a cosmetic restoration and a running restoration, and why we restore all the boats to be runnable, even if we're not running them, they are runnable, is because a runnable boat gets constant maintenance. A static display, it's done.
Gets parked.
And gets parked.
Right.
And these boats, any wooden boat, begins to deteriorate the minute you stop working on it.
Right.
So if we, some of the stuff that we've done, had we not run it, it would be looking like it looked before we started the restoration by now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with the almost 20 or whatever that number is of the restorations the museum has done, what would you say is your favorite project that got restored? And it could be for sentimental for the boat back in the day, something with the restoration process that you were part of. But what's your favorite boat? What's your favorite kid out there in the museum?
I'll let Brad go first because
Wow. Well, that's like asking what your favorite kid is. I mean,
You only have 20 to choose from.
well, no, I like. How about this? I have a lot of personal money invested in the two Norberg boats
Yeah, yeah.
that we've got. I like driving the Squire Shop. It's a neat thing, but I've got to step back. I mean, I remember watching the Blue Blaster and the Pay and Pack, and I wasn't around for the 50s and 60s generation of boats,
Right.
but all the pickle fork boats that we've got out here, those are the boats that I grew up idolizing. You know, I can't. No, I love them all. I love them all. I don't think there's a dog in the building that I'm like,
it is a tough question to answer, and I'm going to change the question to, and I'm going to give you several answers. For,
Okay.
You know, what boat is most meaningful to me? Well, there are two that are really meaningful.
Yeah.
The little Miss Dewey's Lumberville that became the Savior's Miss, that became the Mist Madison. That's the boat that I've driven more than any other boat. I've probably driven that boat as much as all the other boats combined.
Okay, yeah.
Because when we were filming the movie, I just drove and drove and drove, thousands of laps, and I was very proud of that boat, even though we threw it together really, really fast. My first lap on that, in that race boat on a real race course, was in Madison, Indiana, when we started filming the movie, and the job that we did was good enough that my first lap ever on a real race course in that boat was faster than Walt Cate's best lap ever.
Oh, wow.
Because Fred Farley was up there taking all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we do real work.
Yeah.
We do good work. And then I drove it and drove it and drove it and drove it and drove it. And I just love that boat.
Was that your favorite boat to drive then?
It was, and it still is, as far as a rear cockpit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like driving the Griffin.
Yeah.
I mean, it is for me, the perfect combination of a contemporary, big, heavy, wide transom, deep pickle fork, lots of air, high wing. It drives very much like a turbine boat, except that you're not hunkered down behind a canopy and you got that big, beautiful Griffin behind you. But I can remember the first time we took it out. First lap, I went up the backstretch, and that boat you can't really drive slow because it pushes water everywhere. So it's probably about 140. And I saw this set of rollers from somewhere, this big set of rollers that was coming in from the bridge.
and when you have that, they come at you in slow motion. You're going fast, and you can see them coming, and it looks like it's slow motion, and all of a sudden they're right there.
And I was thinking, oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice how much right over the top. I was like, wow, that's like a turbine boat. And it, because the turbines are big, and the turbines are heavy compared to what, a turbine boat has to weigh 6,900 some odd pounds. The slow-mos were 4,500 pounds.
Yeah.
Our Wahoo is 5,800 pounds. I mean, the turbines are a ton heavier than what we're running for the most part. But anyway, that Griffin, it drives like a turbine, but you're out of the cockpit, and so that was cool.
I've got an interesting memory about you and the Griffin, and it was when we were having a conversation, maybe in your office about it, but it was when you first got your turbine ride with Doc, and the URC or whoever was in charge at the time, they were talking about, well, he's a rookie, and how are you going to do it? And whoever was in charge said, I have been watching you drive the Griffin Bud at 140 miles an hour for years.
Yeah.
I'm not worried that you can do this.
Yeah.
Don Malone.
I remember in Tri-Cities one year, my dad helping a team, I won't say the names or whatever, but I remember someone's doing some timing marks, and they timed you on a corner, and they joked that you were faster than the team we were working with at the time.
I've
Around the
never,
corner.
I've never run that boat hard for a full lap.
Yeah.
Because of, Eric Man would have my head. I have seen.
And remember, that's a single stage Griffin. That's not even the big Griffin that's run out here.
Yeah.
I do know, and Fred Farley was timing, because he timed every lap, that I turned a 118 by myself on the race course. It was, I can't remember why I was by myself. I think it was an anniversary of Chenoweth's accident.
Okay.
But I turned 118. And it was like, and I'll push that boat, to be honest, I'll when we're on the race course, I'll kind of pedal it easy down the straightaway and then dig hard in the turns because it throws beautiful fin water.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if I'd known I was that close, I would have stepped on a little harder just to get a 120. But then there was, when we did the Bernie Little tribute in the boat, and the guys had forgot to hook up the primer. And I was out there grinding, and I couldn't get it started. And there's a live helicopter circling, and I couldn't. And then finally it just struck me. I will wonder. Doesn't smell, it doesn't act like there's any prime. So I did what you never do, and I started on the mix handle. And it's like build the fuel pressure and go boom, boom on the mix and get a little fuel squirted in. And the thing lit. And I was not pissed at anybody, but pissed that I'd missed the window because we were supposed to be live TV and helicopters in the air.
Yeah.
And I just was trying to, got down the race course and coming up the front chute past the official barge, I looked down and the needle just, it was 150, 3,500 RPM, 150, 3,500, 150. And then it's like 3,800, 180. And the needles were going like this. And it's like, holy shit. Because I remember Dean talking about, it's a sweetheart until somewhere around 180, 185. It'll bite sometimes. It's like, I'm not going to go for one. But I think we got like about 185 in that boat. And it had plenty left. That's a really, really fast boat.
Yeah. So that was your favorite boat to drive. Brad, is the Squire your favorite boat to drive?
It's the only boat I've driven.
Okay.
I'm. It's interesting in that, when I never drove growing up, I wanted to. I think I've told this story before, but when I was working at Budweiser, we were building T3, but T2 was sitting on the trailer next to it. And over lunch, I just got up in the boat and I kind of went. I was a little bit smaller than I am today, but not much. And Jim Crawford's a very small guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I somehow wedged myself into his seat and was kind of like going, all right. And John Reinberger jumped up on the deck and he goes, here, let me close the lid on you. And I am not a claustrophobic guy. I'm a pilot. I fly in cockpits all the time, but all I thought was, this is a horrible place to die.
Yeah.
And any desire I had to drive went away. So, we talked about it when I came and said, hey, I want to drive this. It was because I've got all this experience flying airplanes and it's not that different, but yeah, I don't have nearly the experience of being able to drive in all the different classes of boats and stuff that David did. So That's all I've got. But honestly, in this role now, I'm already stepping back because I need to be the one, the puppet master and orchestrating things and let everybody else drive,
All right.
But again, that was one of those things where I made the decision the first time I drove the boat was, if I never get to drive a boat again, I can walk away and say, yeah, I drove a boat 130 miles an hour.
Well, I like to live in a hypothetical world,
Okay.
a dream world. Say you got a check for $1 million or whatever, $3 million, whatever you needed to build your dream or have your dream restoration happen. I know we got a lot of cool boats out there, and a lot of those are probably some dream builds that we have, right? The Griffin Bud, the Atlas, Squire, all of them, right? But if you could restore a boat that we haven't restored yet, which one would you Now I'll say, if you could have Brad restore a boat for you since you're retired, and then Brad, which one would you
I
restore?
think I know which one he wants.
Well,
What would it be?
it's hard for me to pick one thing.
Yeah.
It would be one of two boats, but the same team. For years and years and years and years and years and years. I mean, for 30 years, the boat that I wanted to do was a checkerboard Bartle.
Yeah.
Because I have had a very close relationship with Ed. My dad died and John Carrollson died. Close enough together that we adopted each other. I'd worked for Ed for years, and he used to tell me, "You're my son. You're my son now." I love that man. So I would love to have done that boat. And he kept telling me, "David, let me just build the frame. Let me build the hull. I'll pay for it. I'm going to be gone, but then you'll have a Carrollson we didn't have shop space. I had so much going on. So that's a boat that I've always wanted. And that's a boat that I would like to restore or
cool.
rebuild. But if I'm asking for Brad to do a boat, I want him to do the cab over Bartle because we got the gearbox and we have the drawings, and that's the mystery boat from my childhood. Came out in '66. I was 8 years old, and I couldn't wait. I never saw it in person, but I knew all about it, and I read about it, everything I could get, and it was going to change the sport. It was going to be so cool. And I built, even in early '66, before the President's Cup, I built a model. The drag-along hydros we drove behind our bikes. Mine was the cab over Bartle, and then it never came.
Yeah.
It went to a race and a half, and I do know, interestingly enough, that Ed and JR got very, very close because JR was sort of estranged from his dad for a while, and Ed and JR got close. And JR had the same problem. He would talk about, well, I want to do the cab over Bartle, but I want to do Ed's boat. And he even bought a trailer to do the cab over, to do the checkerboard.
Okay.
He was close enough along, JR was, to doing a replica of the checkerboard that he bought. Had Corky Peterson build him a trailer. Mark Evans has that trailer now. Anyway, those are my answers. What's your answer?
Well, I like those.
Well, one of them is sitting in the back right
Yeah.
there. The 79 Circus is why I joined the Squire Shop restoration, was because that was going to be my practice so that we could do that. That, even though it only raced for 2 years as Circus, for whatever reason, that was my boat.
Yeah.
And Steve Reynolds was my driver. So I want to just take that boat out and run it. But maybe I'll give you a 3-part answer.
Okay.
I'd love to do a 57 Thriftway 2 with the little wings in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Possibility is there to do a U95 because both Dave and I had a good close relationship with Chuck.
And we have the gearbox.
And we have the gearbox, which would be the hardest part to do.
Yeah.
And, Dave Bardich has the hull, so it's there.
Right.
But boy, I'd really love to do a 81 pay and pack turbine.
Yeah.
Dave Bartosh has that one too.
Yeah.
He's got that one. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
But I could give you a laundry list of.
I know.
I wanted to do the cab over Vans PX. I want to do the Value Mart Weissfield's Olympia beer.
Right.
Boat. They're there. And guess what? All it takes is some rich guy to write us a check.
Right.
Yeah. $250,000. I mean, we've done enough of these now, and people are, it can't be. Yeah, that's what it takes.
But
there's so many things that the casual fan doesn't think about that goes into it.
You asked that question, and I see that that's an unfair question because that's not what I would really like to do. I would like to kind of take David's long-term vision, and gosh, I'd love when the lease on this building runs out, I'd love to be in a position that we can actually buy and either an existing building, building that's ours, that is double this size.
We have spent $13 million running boats.
Wow.
$13 million.
Wow.
Yeah, we could have a hell of a building for that. So when do we stop running boats and save them? But as soon as we stop running boats, that income stream, it's going to go away.
People forget about us.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
And that's why you're running that Seafair and Tri-Cities and do other expeditions because you get your face out there and it rekindles all those memories and
I would love
brings
to
the
have
membership
a
in.
destination museum. That's what we've always wanted from the start. But
Yeah.
getting there, that's a big step.
Well, if I could share, I would love to see the bubble bed restored at some point as well.
Yeah, that would be a
That
pretty
would be
fun
pretty
one
cool.
to do too.
But
that's not going to, I mean, that just takes cash, but Egret has the boat
right.
and somehow ended up with the bubble. It was loaned and never returned.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's got a 2-stage Griffin. He's got a gearbox. He doesn't have a trailer underneath it. The trailer got put underneath the GP and sold down to Australia. But that's not that far off. And there might be a point down the road when he goes, I'm tired of storing this boat. And he's going to call Brad. And
Yeah. All right.
But that's an interesting step though, because we don't have any enclosed cockpits.
Right. And that was the first one.
Yeah. And honestly, we run our boats in the vintage and historic category for APBA. And the rules say it has to be at least 20 years old.
Yeah.
the U9,
Yeah.
half the fleet.
I was going to say,
We've for the last several years, when Mitch has been running the blue chip at Mahogany Merlot or at Tri-Cities, Ed Cooper and the guys come out and they help him run.
Right.
And it's like, Ed, that boat was built in 2002.
Yeah.
You can bring it out.
Yeah.
You don't even have to put a turbo Allison in it. You can just put an Allison in it.
Yeah.
You come out here and run it as a vintage boat. And we kind of have to adjust the sanction because now you need a rescue diver if you've got a cockpit boat. But now but we don't. There are no restored vintage boats that have a cockpit.
No.
For the Unlimiteds.
It's sometimes you have to take a deep breath and it's a gulp. I have cut the canopies off 3 of our boats.
Yeah.
At least 3. Including when I cut the canopy off the Griffin Bud, and I knew that Dean had been killed in that boat, and I knew I was going to be driving that boat with a Griffin engine without a canopy. It's an eye opener. And we cut the canopy off the 82 Atlas, and we cut the canopy off the the
Squire Shop.
The Squire Shop. But what was it?
The Soul Racing boat, yeah.
But what was the sponsor the last year? Not Pocket Savers, but it was Jackpot Food Mart, I think.
Yep.
But I've cut 3 canopies off, and the whole time I'm doing it's like, I hope I don't regret this. I hope I don't regret this. Or I hope I live long enough to regret it if I,
But knock on wood, we have put a lot of laps. The museum has put in. When did you really start running? 93, maybe 94.
93 was the first time I gave rides.
Okay.
93.
We put a lot of laps, and in those laps, nobody's ever been hurt, and we have broken very little equipment.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say no one's been hurt. I broke a whole bunch of ribs when we were filming the movie.
But that was
under the movie sanction.
And then didn't they ask you if you could do that again?
Yep.
They liked that. Can we do that again?
That was great.
But I mean,
that's
really,
a different interview.
Yeah,
We'll do that
It
story.
really is mind-boggling when you look at how many laps we have run safely.
No, it is. Yeah.
Safely.
Yeah. All right. Well, when I win the lotto, I'll let you know. I'll write you that $250,000 check, and we'll get working
do the
on that whole
bubble
bud. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Your dad would approve, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked about this transition. What's the next step for the museum moving forward? I know we've got some restorations in the back here. You talk a little bit about that, Brad, and what do you hope to bring in? Maybe anything new or exciting for the future for the museum?
I'll answer that a little bit differently. My biggest concern, and I told David this when we really first started talking about it, was I need to ensure that we have a soft place to land if the sport goes away. Okay?
Yeah.
So
That's a real, yeah.
what is a survivable strategic plan to ensure that we still have something that we can maintain, that we can still tell the history, and we can, I want to thrive, but we can survive, because there is a difference, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If the sport doesn't. So that right there is kind of the why I'd like to shift towards finding a permanent place that we own.
Yeah.
We have boats, and we will always have the ability to go back and restore those boats. But if we don't have a place to do it, it's kind of a moot point.
Right, right.
I mean, I all these dreams that I have are the things that kept David up for 30 years. I mean, I want to grow in the membership.
Yeah.
I want the race sites to value us enough that we're important, that it is expensive to go and run these boats, you know?
Yeah.
I hate to say it, because I don't want them to feel that I'm angry, but we have value. We bring value to the table. That's going to cost money.
Yeah.
Is that sustainable?
We've underwritten a couple of surveys for seafarers specifically. And some of this information is 20 years old, but the fans coming to Seafair, I hate to say it, come first for the Blue Angels,
Yeah.
second for the turbine racing, third for us, fourth for GP and Unlimited Light, and then J Hydro and bands, but that was the pecking order for, and it still basically is. And we need to be recognized for the value that we bring. We do bring in a lot of fans.
Yeah.
We do impact the gate.
Oh yeah. No.
I mean, I would love to see a scenario where Tri-Cities or Seattle, you know what? Pay me to bring 8 boats,
Yeah.
and I will run a 4 round nose show in the morning and a 4 pickle fork show in the afternoon for 3 days.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
Or, wow, I really tried. I wanted to be able to get the Chip Hanauer Atlas back to the Gold Cup in Madison this year.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we showed up at Madison?
Huge.
How the people would react
Oh
to
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
But again, it costs. We have to pay the same costs that the H1 teams do. We still have to travel.
Yep.
It costs us the same to move the rolling stock back there as they do, and we have to house people, and it costs the same.
Yeah.
And race sites are. You want to pay that for that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just the reality. I'm not, you're not angry at them for it,
Yeah.
but they have a bottom line to pay for to put on the regatta too.
Right.
But in my world, I'd love to be able to work with H1, to work with the race sites. That I would love the vintage boats to be a package deal that H1 sells to the race sites.
Yeah. 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 I think it'd be great to even just have a boat go there and be on display for, that's a minimum. But every year I go to Tri-Cities or Seattle, and I see it on the shorelines. As soon as a Merlin starts up, or an Allison or Griffin, whatever it is, from the museum, you see people come from the bushes and from the park out to the shoreline. It's different than when the turbines are out there. You see more people just kind of scatter to the shoreline to watch the exhibition. So you're bringing a great value to those races, and I wish it could be expanded.
Something that I would like to see Brad do, and he wants to do this anyway, but we've talked a lot before I left. I would like to see a Mahogany and Merlot style event on the west side of the mountains. And we've identified 3 potential places to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't, I know that there's interest in supporting that from a couple different organizations, but the money isn't quite there yet, but that would be a very, very cool thing.
Yeah.
Basically a standalone vintage unlimited event on this side of the mountains
That'd be great.
would do very well.
And I kind of look at it as it would be a great season kickoff.
Oh, yeah.
Right, you open the season with this, and then we could finish with Mahogany Merlot over on the other side of the mountains.
Right.
But I mean, even the people at Seafair were like, that might be kind of cool.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic. I mean, Seafair's expanded all these different other avenues. That'd be fun. I'd be there.
I do have to hand it to the current administration in Seafair that when they came in last year, they really didn't know what hydroplanes were. But I'll name drop Emily Cantrell. She is in charge, and she saw what we were able to do with bringing Jimmy Johnson in with the Atlas Van Lines and the show that we put on there last year. And then we brought her over to Chelan, and she got a ride in the boat. And as soon as she stepped off the boat, it was like, oh my God, I get it now. And now she's like, yes, 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 yes.
That's great. That's great to hear.
But again, people just need to see the value that we have there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a huge value with this, and hopefully they can expand. I would love to see that. I think every member would, right? So, well, talking about all this work that Brad's doing and needs to do, is there something that he hasn't realized that he has to do yet that might open his world?
Sleep,
yeah.
But hydroplane racers don't sleep, though.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but what I do have to say is you really need to take care of yourself because it's
Sleep.
Yeah.
because it is
No,
very
it's true.
easy to put this place first and second and third.
Right.
And I hesitate to say this in front of Brad, but I did have some real health problems. And had I not, I can tell you, my blood pressure was through the roof for years and no medication. I mean, I probably could have taken some type of high-level tranquilizer that would zombie me out.
Yeah.
But no medication I was taking was helping. And I didn't want to end up like your dad.
Right.
As much as I love him, I don't want to, and since I quit, my blood pressure has dropped down to normal. And I might be able to, one of the reasons I retired is because I've reached the age at which my dad died. And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Fathers and sons, and, it's something that will probably, how old was Roger when he passed away?
He was in his 60s.
Yeah.
So
My dad was 69.
Yeah.
I'm 68. And when you're looking at that date on the calendar going, my dad didn't live past this, I'd better take care of myself.
Right.
But my health has improved dramatically. So take care of your health. And in aviation, what's the cardinal rule? First, fly the airplane. Don't ever
navigate, communicate. Yep.
Don't ever stop flying the airplane, because the minute you stop flying the airplane, don't ever stop taking care of yourself. Don't ever put this place in front of your health, because without you, there will be no this place, because I can't come back. I mean, and that's serious. I cannot come back.
Right.
And I've already told the board, make it work with Brad. Give him everything he needs, because if he can't, if he strokes out or gets pissed off, I cannot come back, because,
I mean, honestly, in the back of my mind, I knew day one, my first job was starting to look for my replacement.
Oh, wow.
And that doesn't mean that I'm ready to leave.
No,
but you did, right?
Yeah.
How early in the process were you when you're like, okay, I got to figure something out?
Yeah.
And there has to be a succession plan,
Right.
Yeah.
because had I dropped dead before Brad was schooled up, I don't think the place could have survived a transition from nobody
Right. No, yeah.
Yeah, and Brad has to be the same way.
And I'll shout out to Kip Brown, who's on our board of directors. And we were at a meeting, and I was probably getting spooled up over something. And he just looked at me and goes, "Hey, you don't have to take care of this all at once. Give yourself a grace period."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think it was last year when I was aware of like your retirement, and I was like, "Oh crap! Now what's going to happen in the museum?" And then I heard it was Brad. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
he's the guy. He's the guy. It's going to be good hands.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad you say that. And I will have to say that I have gotten a lot of good support from people I know, people I don't know. But when David was earlier, he said, he kind of suffered from imposter syndrome. That's every day for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just
Every day from
I'm just a guy. Why am I qualified to do this?
Yeah.
But I am now a quarter of the way through my first year, and the building hasn't burned down yet. And yeah,
Yeah. Or gotten crashed in, or
not yet. Well, thanks to the poles that
Yeah.
we put in the last time somebody
Don
tried to
Mock
break
and I
in.
put those in.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, what's retirement life like for you now? I know you're going back to school, college.
Yeah,
What else?
I'm continuing to write, and I'm already working on the next book in the Seattle Hydro Aviation series.
Okay.
I don't want to talk too much about that.
I was going to say. Okay.
I found that for myself, if I talk about it too much, if I tell the story that I'm about to write, then I don't have that desire to
No.
write. So, but that I have a contract already on the next book.
Good.
And
How about the feedback you've been getting from the Chuck Lyford book that we just published?
I've been getting some extraordinary feedback on
Good.
that. And when you write about a person, a real person, and their family and friends are alive, that becomes my first audience. And his widow Pam, his son Charlie, his best friend Bruce, another great friend Steve Miller, guitar Steve Miller, have all sent me rave reviews. I got this gorgeous email from Steve Miller that it really brought tears to my eyes. So the family has told me, his family and friends have said, you got it. And we understand, this is them, we understand you couldn't put all the stories in because he's lived for 75 years. And
I'm waiting for the director's cut, which is going to be like a 4-volume set.
I got a director's cut on the Slovak book, and it's more of a NC-17 of the non-rated cut, because both Slovak and Lyford were ladies' men,
Yeah.
and just there were enough people that could be offended by that I kept that out of the book. But man, the stories, there will be, maybe it's something that'll be published when I pass away. And Chuck always told me, and he told you the same thing, because he said, you can't write anything until I've been dead for 5 years at least.
Yeah. When I first approached Chuck about, we got to tell your story, he's like, no, there's too many people out there that still want to see me dead. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay. But I thought it was interesting that David and I both approached Chuck separately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not in the exact same time frame, but within a few years of, you got a great story to tell here.
Yeah.
And my brother and I got to know him pretty well, and my brother described him as a real life League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because if Hollywood couldn't write his story, because they'd go, yeah, that didn't happen.
Too far-fetched.
Yeah, no way. No, but he did.
Yeah. Wow.
And the problem was, not the problem, but as someone with a basic journalism background, I had to use multiple sources or I wouldn't write the story.
Yeah.
And finding multiple sources on some of this stuff was pretty fun. But no, the books. So anyway, what's my life like? I'm working hard to take care of myself. I'm writing a lot. I'm headed back to school to finish my degree. My wife and I just found out we're about to be grandparents.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
And and we got a whole lot of travel planned. So anyone that's listening to this, when you hear that, the old guy on the commercial saying, start investing for your retirement now, put money away. Yes, do that, because it's amazing when you reach to a point and you go, oh, I can make more money not working than working. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well,
I'm happy.
I'm glad to hear life's going well for you, David, and that you won't be a stranger down here at all.
Nope, I will come anytime Brad asks me.
I still need him as a driver.
Yeah,
All right.
I will be doing some driving. We probably have to have a discussion on a couple of events, like school starts.
Yeah.
And
Do you need me to write you a note for your teacher?
No,
Please excuse David. He needs to drive the Griffin Budweiser at Seafair.
Are we running? I thought we were running Tri-Cities.
No, but I will write you plenty of notes.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the teacher that I need to send it out to.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good.
All right.
Good. Well, before we go, I really appreciate both of your time. It's been a great conversation. Love what you're doing here. But Brad, is there anything you can tell for the fans listening that haven't been down to the museum, that aren't members, how they can contribute, and why should they come down here and take part of this museum?
There are people that will walk through the door who aren't hydroplane fans. They just, for whatever reason, they saw something on social media or they saw a sign and they decided somebody told them to come down here. And they're blown away by what these things are. That it's one thing to, I don't even know how to explain it. You walk in here and the thing I hear most is, oh my God, I didn't realize these boats were that big.
Yeah.
I've got a great group of docents that volunteer here that can just tell you a story and they'll take up 2 hours of your time walking through here and telling you stories. And by the time they leave, they know what the history of hydroplane racing meant specifically to this community.
Yeah.
But to the other communities, around the country that had races because there was a time when this really mattered, right? This was a sport that actually mattered. I've got a group of probably 70 core volunteers.
Oh, wow.
That are down here all the time. And that ranges in, it's great because we've got, I could field an entire unlimited crew of guys who drove unlimiteds, turned wrenches on limiteds, built engines. I mean, we've got great experience in the room here.
Yeah.
But we have people that, one of the guys, Brian Zimmerman on the Squire Shop, came in and was working because he was friends with Tim Ramsey. And Tim brought him down here and Brian was like, I've seen the races on TV, but I don't know nothing about him. But he's one of those guys, he works for Boeing and he's a smart guy and he wanted to learn.
Yeah.
All right, let's teach you a skill. And he knows how to build boats now. We got him into our driver program and he actually is going to be one of our drivers giving rides in the boats.
Cool.
If you come down here, join the team, pay your membership dues, and you can do this. This is the opportunity for a guy off the street to actually touch, twist wrenches and feel and be a part of it. You can't walk into the Strong Racing Shop or the BWR Racing Shop and go, hi, I'd like a job, like what I did with Bernie Little. But those days are different, right?
Right.
And this is it's an amazing place to come. And like I said, once you walk in the door, you'll know why you came.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we are dependent on, we couldn't survive if we didn't have the members and the volunteers.
Yeah.
So I've developed over the years a certain phrase, and there is no they. It's only us. You go online and you start reading the shorebirds in the sport. You know what they need to do? They need to get a race in Detroit. They need to build a boat. Our sport is small enough. There is no they.
Right.
It's us.
Yeah.
You were a fan. I was a fan. it's unbelievable I was just a fan. And the things that we were able to do. So if there's someone out there that's going, they need to get a race in Detroit. Well, heck, come on down, start working with us. We'll put you in touch with Tommy Dees. We'll put you in touch with Weber. Or put down a race in Detroit. We'll help you get it going. We'll take vintage boats. I mean, that's for the fan. That's why you need to come down here. Because there is no they, it's only us. And this is where you can get involved in the sport.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I want to thank you, David, for all the years of dedication you've given to the museum and hydroplane racing and continued support. And I want to thank you, Brad, for taking that torch on and carrying that legacy here for the greater Seattle area and I guess the world, right? Because, I mean, this is the biggest hydroplane museum in the world. So thank you both.
You're very welcome. It's our pleasure.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down.
Yeah. Anytime.
All right, knuckleheads. Once again, that's all the time we have for this week. I hope you enjoyed my interview with David Williams and Brad Haskin as we talked about everything we could with the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum, their time there, David's retirement, Brad's stepping into the role, the next generation at the museum. And I really do hope you take to heart considering becoming a member because everything that you can do for the museum does matter and counts towards preserving the history of the sport that we love. Don't forget, this month, Saturday, June 20th, they're bringing back Hydro Fever at the Hydroplane and Raceboat Museum. If you want to get a table, you can contact Brad Haskin at the museum, $15 to reserve a table, to sell or trade your goods. Or if you're a collector and just want to add to your collection, come down for a free day and come down and you can purchase goods from the museum itself. I know they'll have stuff out there for sale, but many collectors, including myself, will be there selling some goods as well. Our next interview is actually with Ed Thompson. He's returning to the show once again, not as the owner of Cool Cats Motorsports, but as one of the board of directors for the Grand Prix American Hydroplanes series. And he's going to talk more about the series itself and what to expect this summer from the GPs. All right, don't forget to check us out on our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, also online at www.roostertailtalk.com. But like I said earlier, that's all I got for you this time. So until next week, I hope to see you at the races.